celebrate Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mamas out there, no matter what capacity you might find yourself in a mothering position. So hello, hello. You may notice that I am in a new location. And actually we were doing some Mother's Day phone calls. So do apologize for being a few minutes late, but I also had to walk down on the other side of the hill because I have something to share with you guys. But hey, if you are just tuning in, or maybe later on you're watching the replay and you don't know who I am Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can find out a little bit more about me by checking out the links down below, my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. Maybe also checking out the Witchy Shop, Desert Cauldron, James's Crystal Shop, maybe signing up for the newsletter or checking out Patreon, the YouTube members, all of that. But hey, 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 welcome. We have a special live chat channeling here. So I do a poll every week, usually on Thursdays, on my YouTube channel page, but I also do it for my YouTube members and my Patreon homies. So if you are on Patreon or a YouTube member, you get kind of extra votes if you if you're really wanting to see something during the live chat. And it looked like for majority for this Sunday, people wanted a Mother's Day channeling, and I'll talk about what that includes or what that entails. But we'll do our weekly reading first. We'll dive into our channeling. Then, as always, we do our super chats and super stickers that anybody would like card pulls towards the end of the chat today. And then we'll do our channel guided meditation. Alrighty, so first, a little buggy on my sunglasses. All right, how are you guys this morning? Any plans for Sunday? Any plans for this week? All right, Patrick is here. Peg, hello. Elise the Floral Ninja is here. Hello, hello. Says hi all. Happy Mother's Day to all of you and their families and alternative mothers, shall we say. Lily, hello. And John. Shadowlands is here. She says, hey, guppies. Jerome is here. He says, namaste. How are you? So for me, I'm doing great. Like I said, we were making some Mother's Day phone calls, but I was so excited because of where we're located today for our live chat. Normally, I'm up top, kind of where Anna's tree is, and actually, as I was coming down here, Miss Squirrel came up to greet me, and she's like, "Hey," because it's like Sunday. Like I usually sit out here with all my equipment, and I'm like, "No, I'm going on the other side of the hill." She looks so confused. Our little cottontail bunny came running up to me. He's like, "Hey, where are you going?" So yeah, all the animals came out as they normally do for our Sunday chats, but they were just a little confused on why I wasn't over by Honest Tree, but they'll find me. And oh wow, our little Labradorite bug just went by. But let me show you. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I took my prized surfboard. I had that board custom made back in the day. There's a guy, he was kind of I guess a well-known shaper out in San Diego, and his name's Matt Wilkerson, and he used to work for Pacific Surf Glass, but now he works for, I think it's Surfcraft, so he's got his own little company now where he still shapes boards and everything, and I think he's still doing surf competitions. But I had saved up my hard-earned cash back in 2000, and I had finally gotten myself a longboard, and I remember he had shaped the blank, and then I only had convertible at the time, and this thing's 9 feet long. So I had to, I folded the passenger seat down. I put my board in there and I had to put the top down. And I was taking it back to Vista because this place was in uh, Commerce. Gosh, it was so long ago. But anyway, it was an industrial complex in San Diego. And he was like, "Where are you taking my blank?" And I was like, "I want to paint it myself." And he was like, he was like having a freak out because like shapers, that's their art, that's their pride and joy, right? So to put any ding onto a blank, meaning before it has its glass or anything, it's very fragile. So if it gets a ding or anything like that, the board's toast. And so since I was putting it into a little convertible, driving it like an hour away to Vista, he was just like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Trust me, it's gonna be okay." But I wanted to paint it with 2 red stripes, and the board's upside down so you can't see it, but underneath I put these 2 feet on the nose so that it was toes on the nose, so I could hang 10 while I was surfing. And yeah, I brought it back without a ding on it. He was shocked, but he glassed it up, and this gave me, 2 decades worth of fun. Out in the waves. Rode this mostly in Orange County, in Huntington Beach. Learned in Seals Beach, where there's really not any waves at all. But I surfed in Huntington. I surfed in Newport. When I came back to San Diego, I would surf Pacific Beach, and just kind of wherever, really. And so for me, the ocean, it was always about being in the present moment. Because if you're not present, the wave's going to hit you upside the head and you're going to go in the spin cycle. So, which means that you get caught in the roll of the wave and you're like, all over the place. And so, yeah, I mean, I had some difficulties when I was going through college and stuff like that. And this board just kind of represented my ability to be present and I guess, reconnect with my soul. So I wouldn't say I was like awake yet, but I was awakening. And it's funny how I learned. I learned to night surf before I learned to surf in the daytime. So it was all about following your intuition because you cannot see the waves at night. All you can feel is the undulations underneath you. So you can kind of feel the swell kind of going up and down. You have to kind of guesstimate where the line is, meaning or where the lineup is, meaning where the before the the wave starts to crest. You don't want to be there because that's called the impact zone. You get a wave right on top of your head. But if you can get out past there, you're just kind of like riding these undulations. And when you feel like it, when you feel like you're ready, you kind of paddle in and then you catch that wave. So I did that all by intuition at first. I couldn't see the waves at all. And I guess that would be really scary to people because the ocean just looks black, as black as the night. But I had a whole lot of fun. And it was actually once I started incorporating my other senses like sight, I started paddling out during the day and I was like, holy crap, these waves are huge. Oh my goodness. But I had so much fun. I used to basically just live in my bikini and my rash guard and in the wintertime, I lived in my wetsuit. Um, yeah, and I would just spend all day just surfing. And when I would get injured in track, and I couldn't use my legs because I would injure myself, I would just go out surfing. So I wanted to bring a bit of this out here to our property because as you know, this place is an ancient ocean. We still find seashells here. We find fossils of like basically old clamshells and seashells. There's fossilized, oh gosh, what are they called? I forget their name, but they're like a prehistoric type of sea life, and we see them still embedded in the shells. I mean, in the rocks around here. So this was an ocean, and later on it was a lake, and now it's the mountains. But I wanted to bring that ocean energy back here, and um, had quite an experience. Not on this board. The only time I decided not to take out my own damn board was during a winter swell in November back in San Clemente. This was like 2005-ish, and and I my intuition said don't go out, and I ignored my intuition. I didn't use the board that I know and love. I used a board I'd never used. I used a board that was too short for the waves because they were 7+ waves looking at the backside. And yeah, that was where I almost drowned because I was in my ego and not in my higher self. But that was in that moment, that was where I learned to like release. I was being held under for so long and I had run out of air to the point where my lungs were on fire and I couldn't hold my breath anymore. I was just like, okay, well, this is it. This is where the story ends. And I'm not scared. I wasn't scared anymore. I decided this is going to be it for me. And the only thing I was really concerned about was the fact that I didn't have my driver's license on me. And I thought that when they find my body, they're not going to know who I am because I'm probably going to be fish food for somebody. So I was like afraid that like my parents wouldn't know what happened to me because I didn't tell anybody I was going out surfing and I never did, which is probably not safe. Um, and yeah, that was my main concern, and really, it was just like I was at peace. I was like, I'm not scared anymore, and I'm ready. I'm ready. Like I could go, and I was getting ready to like take in a big inhale of water, when all of a sudden, like my eyes were open. everything around me turned white underneath the ocean. Like it was this bright white. I don't really know how to describe it. It's as if I was surrounded by whitewash, but I wasn't in whitewash. I was in the spin cycle. And I just kind of popped up to the surface, like just magically, just as I went, and somehow that big wave had pushed me close enough to shore where I could swim the rest of the way in. And I ended up making it to shore, and I vomited promptly once I was on shore. I just threw up all this seawater. And then I passed out for probably like 2 hours on the shore. And there were people on the beach, but nobody really seemed to care. So they just kind of left me there. And there was like a little surf school that I like threw up in front of, and like the instructors were basically like, just don't mind her, kids. So yeah, I just washed up on the shore, and that's when I had my little, what am I doing with my life? Like, what do I want to do with my life moment? So this board means a lot to me because it represents that point in my life. And in my meditations, um, my higher self is telling me, now you know what the feeling of ultimate surrender is like. We're not asking you to die, literally, obviously. It wasn't your time to go. That was an exit point, but I chose not to take that exit point. Um, and so when I talk about releasing, ego, and I wanna heal and things like that, my higher self is like, that's the release we're talking about, like ultimate surrender. Like you're scared, you're scared, you're scared, and then at some point you just say, this is it. I'm like ready. I'm ready. Let's do it. So that's the energy I want to have here, for myself, for others. So that's why we got this surfboard table. What James calls it the magician's table. Its official name is the surf and turf table. And yesterday we were sitting just out here by the table, and less than 50 yards away, a bobcat just was cruising on by. So I took that also as like a very magical, good sign. A lot of the animals have come around here since we built it, and yeah, that's why I wanted to do the live chat here, is because first of all, I'm surprised that I get a internet signal here on this side of the mountain. Um, but also, I wanted to do the readings here. I wanted to do the channeling here, and I wanted to bring you guys in on it, and also announce that, hey, because of you homies, I'm at 10,000 subscribers now, so we're obviously going to do something very special. I want to do a giveaway next week, so that'll actually be our live chat next week. We'll still do other live chatty stuff, but I want to do a giveaway as a thank you to all of my subscribers, everybody who comes here on the live chat, everybody who has commented on our videos and things like that. I'm just, wow, like 10,000 people, like seriously, that's a lot of people to me. um, and I want to make a special video, to post as well, not just a live chat. So I want to make a special video. I want to do a giveaway for subscribers here on YouTube, but I also want to do a special giveaway for my YouTube members and my patrons. So there's going to be kind of giveaways all around as like a thank you, thank you, thank you. And I do have a couple of people who are new patrons as well. So thank you guys so much. This is wow. Wow. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited, and yeah, so I've been kind of planning some things and putting some giveaway stuff aside, but also trying to brainstorm what would be a really awesome video to make as a thank you, something that you guys would like to see. So I'm thinking it might be either a channeling video or just something, but I want it to make it special, for everyone as a thank you. So anyway, so that's why we're here by the surfboard table. I wanted to share that story with you, and also share the 10,000 subbies. All right, so let's go back here. I missed some of your comments. Shadowland says, I'd love to learn to surf at some point. Oh, it's a lot of fun. Lisa said, hi Tara, I'm coffeeed and ready with a shell, my oceanic deck, and a cool scarf. Awesome, yes. Kittiest Worker is wishing everybody a happy Mother's Day and lots of hugs. John was wondering if the fossils are the crinoids. They are, but there's one that's a really long name. that we found, because we did identify some of them. Oh, when I know, I'll put it on the Instagrams for you guys. But yeah, and Elisa, dude, an organization for the blind hooked us up with some guides who took us out. I wish I could have done that again. That sounds cool. And Shadowland says, "Is it Ammonite that you find out where you are?" Not Ammonites. It's a little bit different. Everybody's saying, "Wow," and Lily's like, "Talk about a rude awakening." You know what? I appreciated it afterwards, and actually, there's a story that goes along with it the day after. So maybe I'll share that too. Peg's like, "A come to Jesus board, hallelujah, heck yeah." It's a good signal. Blessings. John saying congratulations. Elise, congratulations. KDS worker, thank you, thank you. So yeah, what a thing, when this finally got built, we hit 10,000 subscribers. So it's like I don't know, it's like I don't know, I even know how to describe it. The English teacher has no words. But yeah, I wanted to share that story. And actually the follow-up to that story was the next day. I decided to go back out there. I was living in San Clemente at the time, and so the little beach house I was living at was just a hop and a skip and a jump to the ocean. But there were some train tracks that you have to cross and climb down some rocks before you can get to the water. So I was sitting just outside the train tracks, sitting on the rocks, and I was just watching the waves. The sets roll in, and this surfer dude, like. Um, you know how the stereotypical surfer dude, the long hair, talks a lot like yo and dude. That that was the guy who decides to sit next to me on the rocks, because I was contemplating my life really, because something traumatic had just happened to me the day before, and nobody seemed to know. The guy that I was dating at the time didn't know that I had almost drowned. Like nobody knew. Even the people on the shore, they weren't really paying attention. They were off in their own little world. So I was basically all alone in this event. And so I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I had just finished up my grad school for my teaching credential. And I wanted to, because I was like, I'm gonna be an English teacher, but I wasn't quite sure if that was my life's calling. Like I wanted to help people, but then I was also like, but I need to help myself first. Like I was all up in my head. I suffered from anxiety and depression. I was constantly consumed by my own thoughts. I didn't know about meditation really, other than surfing. That was my meditation. I didn't know about going inwards. I didn't know about healing at all. So it was like, to me, from a very egotistical point of view, it was like, why would the world do this to me? Like, why would the ocean want to kill me? Like, and it's like so silly from this point of view now, because like, of course, the ocean didn't want to kill me. Like, that was myself putting myself in that position so that I could wake the F up, So it was something that was happening for me. There was no maliciousness. There was no angry God. There was none of that. But I couldn't see that at that time, because I was just so in my head. I was so in my ego. I know that now. And so I'm sitting on the rocks, and I'm trying to figure everything out logically. And so, yes, the Spicoli character, he sits next to me. He's like, "Hey," basically, he's he's good sets coming in. I was like, "Uh-huh." And he says, "So what's up?" And I'm like thinking, who is this guy? And so he's like, and he looks at me, and then he's like, "Oh shit. Hey, you're that chick that was out in the waves yesterday. Yeah, man, it was like double overhead. It was like 7 plus. Dude, we even had some 8 footers coming in." He's like, "You were so brave." And I was like, yeah, I was so stupid. I was like, I went out on a 5 foot board, which was too short for me. I was like, dude, I almost drowned. And he's like, "No, no." He says, "You were brave." He says, "You went out there and you faced your fears." And so we're having this back and forth. I'm trying to tell him how idiotic I was and how this was like not a meaningful, helpful event. And he was trying to get me to see the positive. So basically, I feel like my higher self had brought in the higher self of some other dude who came in the form of Spicoli and was trying to get me to see that there was another perspective of what happened in that situation. He was trying to say, you know, he kept saying it was a wake up call, though. He says, maybe now you really think about where you want to go in your life, basically. And I just was like poo pooing this guy because I wasn't really ready to hear it. But, you know, he just kept saying, you know, if you've gotten a second chance like this, what are you going to do with it? He says, I mean, you could sit up here on the rocks all day. Okay, I think we're back. So yeah, so basically he was just saying, you know, what do you want to do moving forward? The past is the past. Now that you're here on the rocks in the present, what do you want to do? So anyway, so that was the other half of the story. Alrighty. Let's see, let's go back. What you guys had said here. Susie, thank you. Shadowland says that she did a tassiograph reading earlier. Very cool. Elise said, funny, I had wanted to be an English teacher. No wonder we're friends. Nice. Peg was saying fascinating. Susie, thank you. She said she was digging the outfit. Patrick said, this is funny you talk about it. I was always looking for near-death things that I got a few times real close. Thanks for the trigger. Alrighty, so yes, so just a little chat about the board, little background, little I don't know, I guess glimpse into sort of one of the journeys on my way here. So anyway, let's have a little sip of water. We're going to dive into our weekly reading. I have my decks all lined up here. I don't know if I'll use them all, but let me show you what I got and let me know what you are using for our reading as well. Or maybe you're just pulling good old fashioned intuition down, which would be amazing as well. But I have my Herb Crafters Tarot, the Desert Illuminations Tarot and Oracle, bada boom. And I also have the Jade Oracle and my Pachamama runes. So I think we're going to go with the Jade Oracle and the Herb Crafters for just taking a look into this upcoming week. So yeah, let me know what you guys are utilizing. Maybe it's some runes, maybe it's pendulum, maybe you're just pulling in downloads because you're channeling, which would be amazing. You got my vote on that. John says, I feel like near-death experiences are super common for seekers like us. I've definitely had a few. Yep. I would say I've had quite a few, but that's the one that I think it like really like slapped me in the face, like, hey lady, wake up a little bit, you know? So uh Lily said the herb crafters. Yes, this is a wonderful deck. What I love about it is that it's, first of all, the art is all done in color pencil, which I love the softness of it. It's wonderful. But also the guidebook has different recipes that you can use depending on the herb that you pulled in your reading. So like, let's say you pulled the eucalyptus herb, I don't know, for whatever it is that your reading was about. And if you wanted to not only go inwards and see what that message was trying to tell you, but if you wanted to utilize it in some way in your life in the 3D, it has wonderful recipes for that. So that's also why I like the deck. Okay, so let's pull from the Jade Oracle. We'll pull a theme card for the week, and then we'll use the Herb Crafters for clarification. All right, so we have some birds that just did some flyovers, so that's good. Lily says, ooh, I'll have to pull from that for me today. All right, will do. Patrick is going to channel. Okay, I can dig it. Heck yeah. All right, so let's settle in here. What do we need to know about this upcoming week? Anything for us to meditate on? Anything for us to work on? Any heads ups? Let's see. Okay. Okie dokie. So let's see what we have here. Chalchihuitl, which is jade. Excellent. It's the Jade Oracle. So let's tap into this. The energy for this week. Okay. So for this upcoming week, it seems like we have a lot of opportunity to open our hearts to healing. So we might be introduced to certain people this week or situations, anything that will either um, trigger us into opening our heart space or just provide an opportunity basically for us to open that heart space. So anything coming up this week that you're really feeling it in the heart is an opportunity for you to go inwards and see, like, what am I feeling at this time? Why am I feeling this? Where is this actually coming up from? You know, there might be a person or situation that aided us in coming back to this heart space, but then we have to utilize that information, kind of like what I was talking about earlier with my whole surf story. You know, the situation presented itself out in the ocean, but what do I do with that information is actually the most important thing. The story itself, the ocean itself, was just the catalyst. It's like a minor character, but the real work is what happens after. And that's what's coming up for us this week. Is you have these things that may happen, and our ego may want to focus on the person, or it might want to focus on the situation or this thing that happened to me, but really that is just such a minor character. It's just such a minor part in what it was really for, and that was for coming into the heart space. So if you know that, then what are we going to do with this information moving forward? If I'm feeling a certain way, whether I want to attribute it to being positive or negative, how does that help me? What do I do with that? And so we have a wonderful opportunity for growth this week. The ego mind might say, well, of course we're in the heart space because we have the whatever on the calendar. It says that today is Mother's Day. So we're in the heart space. And maybe that might help some people to get in their heart space and maybe look into things, but that's not the major event. That's not the what do we do with this moving forward. So maybe it is Mother's Day that helps you tap into the heart space, whether you're feeling, you know, positive about it or negative about it. It's still an opportunity to go inwards, but we have these opportunities throughout the week as well. Well, technically throughout our lifetime, but more prominently throughout this week. So what are you going to do with that information moving forward? The thing already happened. The situation already happened. Now what? So that's kind of what I'm getting with Jade here. Let me see what you guys have going on. Lily said synchronicities are already popping up. Shadowland says, just sent an Insta message for the Tasseographer reading from earlier. All right, okay. Elisa John, yes, I agree. I wouldn't seek. Oh, hello. Here comes our little Labradorite guy. Def wouldn't seek a near death experience, but I am grateful for mine. I've had a few myself. That's awesome. Lisa is here. Hello. All righty. So let's put this off to the side and let's get a little bit more in depth. We'll use the herb crafters for this. And actually, you know what? I don't normally dive into the guidebook, but I want to pull a card for maybe a little recipe. Maybe if we want to whip up a little kitchen magic later for any of you that are interested in kitchen magic, maybe we'll do that as like a little added bonus, you know. Okay, so let's pull a few cards. What else do we need to know? So we're hearing about the heart space. We're hearing this is an opportunity for some deep, deep healing, an opportunity to see outside our little box, outside of our ego mind. Let's see what else. Okay. All right, so we have red clover with the 10 of water. So it's like your 10 of cups. Again, I love the images of this deck. We have 7 of earth, like your 7 of pentacles with oak. And then we have our 6 of water slash cups with borage. Okay, so let's put these together. Okay. All right. So there for this is, in general, for a lot of us, we're going to have an opportunity to heal some deep-seated programming about our love for self and love for those around us. I feel like this is really centered around not just love as in like, oh, I was, so in love with somebody, but more the frequency of love. Love is an energy. It's what makes us up. It's the frequency of source. It's all of these things. So being able to see it in that perspective, how can I see that source, love, energy, that I am source, that I am that love energy. And if I'm that love energy, and everything is source, then everything around me is love. So if there's a situation that presents itself as negative in my perspective, then what is the other side of the coin? What is the love perspective of that? If there's somebody who we feel has wronged us, but that person's also from source, which also comes from the frequency of love. So, how could I look at that person from that perspective of love instead of the perspective of they did this to me? This makes me angry. I'm very hurt. There is that. Yes, we don't want to deny that. But how could I look at it from a different perspective? What are they offering me? What lesson were they teaching me? If I became very angry or I was very hurt about it, why? Where is that coming from? And you may say, well, they did this. Well, of course, anybody would be hurt. Okay. But for some people, it would bounce right off their shoulders or off their back. They just, it doesn't affect them because there's something that's attached to the energy that makes us feel that certain way. So then we can go in even deeper. So in that, I would say, energy, we have a wonderful opportunity to not only release their energy so that they no longer haunt our thoughts for the next 5, 10, 50 years, whatever it may be, of, I'm going to stay attached to this person because of what they did. I'm so angry. We have that. We can definitely do that. But we also have another choice, and it's to see it from this perspective of love. If that person is love and I am love, what were they teaching me? And once I know the lesson, I don't need to hold on to that anymore. Why would I continue to beat myself up? Well, probably because we have to learn something about loving ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't continue to treat ourselves that way. To say, I'm going to hold on to this and I'm going to hold on to this and hold on to this because I want to stay angry. But why? Why does the ego want that for us? So, wonderful opportunities for this week. Like I said, we're all going through different things and we're all triggered in different ways. And yes, I know everybody's story is different. Everybody has different stories of, you know, people they've been hurt by or, have been angry with, or situations they feel were so unfair. But there's always another perspective. And in that other perspective, that's where we grow. Otherwise, just like me sitting on the rocks, looking over the ocean, just sitting in my ego, I couldn't see any other way. And it was my, I'd say, just synchronicity, higher self bringing it in, brings in this other guy as another perspective because I literally couldn't see that perspective for myself. Doesn't mean I saw it immediately from his perspective, but it gave me something to think about. It was in there. So that's what I'm saying, especially with this reading. At least it's in there somewhere saying, maybe there is another perspective. Maybe I'm tired of being angry, or I'm tired of blaming. I don't want this to happen anymore. I don't want this lesson to keep repeating itself. It's not making me happy. It doesn't make me feel good. So we can change that. We definitely can. You have the power this week. All righty. Let's see what you guys had here. Peg says, Lisa, I love your little treasure chest and loved it. It was electric too. Great job on that. She's also saying beautiful cards. Patrick says he hears a waterfall. Well, Might be a 4D waterfall. I mean, there is a waterfall not too far from here. It's just not running at the moment. Shadowland says, I'm using Tarot of the Mermaids. Just pulled the King of Pearls, which is Pentacles. Lily saying, oh man. Susie saying, we're on fire. All righty. So let's pull one more card just because I want to look at the herb in this guidebook. Just something that maybe, I don't know, if you wanted to create something fun in the kitchen or at the altar today, maybe this would be a little fun for my little magical practitioners who are watching. Okay, let's see. What could we do that might be for our best and highest good? Ooh, okay. White sage, which in this case is the 5 of air. Okay, so let's look up a recipe for white sage. Okay, there's air. 5 of air. Here we go. um, Okay, so just a little background for those of you interested in herbs. A healthy white sage plant grows in a pot on a well-worn concrete doorstep. The plant is small but strong. The home is old but well cared for. And then they're talking about what's going on in the picture. A basket holds sprigs of the freshly harvested sage. Several leaves are wrapped into bundles with red string. The loose leaves will be saved for medicine. Nothing will be wasted. So here's crafting with white sage. So familiarize yourself with the origins of your spiritual tools, where the botanicals are grown, where the practices come from. So if you're wanting to be able to get, I say, some synchronicity or understanding of maybe why you're hearing about white sage in this live chat, what that means to you, and where you are on your path and your healing at this time. So allow it to be a guide. You don't need it physically. I feel that you can tap into anything energetically. So it's not like you need to go out and go get white sage or be saddened because it doesn't grow in your area. But it's a plant ally, and it's also us. It's just a different aspect of us. So you can tap into it in any time, and see what message it has for you and see how that pertains to your life. It says to get to know plants local to you for burning in sacred rituals of your own making. But then again, just look at where you are in general and what you have surrounded yourself with, basically in your reality. So just like we surround ourselves with certain people, that we bring in through law of attraction and as we create our own reality, but we also do it with animals, we do it with plants, we do it with, where we choose to set up our home. So look at what they're trying to say about you, and you might find some wisdom there. So, and I know that we all live in different locations all around the world, so that might be rather interesting. If you say, well, I've grown up in the UK all my life, but why did you choose to stay there? And what plants have surrounded you? What is their energy? What is the energy of the people, of the animals, of the environment itself? What message does that have for you? So, alrighty. So white sage really just having us tap into our surroundings that we've created for ourselves. So I like that. Okie dokie. Let's have a little bit of water here. Somebody's rooster is going off, and he's a little late. That rooster should be fired. Elise says, I pulled 2 cards, one for the week and 2 to clarify. I get a feeling we are traveling to a different dimension, and understanding that will help us become comfortable in our skin. Susie is loving that message. John says, I'm in the Midwest. I've been thinking about staying some prairie sage. It's more related to mugwort. I'm interested in knowing if anybody here worked with it before. Oh, starting some mugwort. I see. Um, Actually, yes, I do. I utilize mugwort. Um, Usually, I've used it in a couple of different ways. Mugwort I've used in like herbal smoke blends, but I've also used it in tea. And so when I put it in a tea form, I've just always felt that the energy aided me in getting myself out of my ego. If my intention already was to get myself out of my ego, I feel that mugwort aids that intention, but it just doesn't do anything for us. Like I don't feel like anything, crystals, plants, they don't do the work for us, but it's about our intention. If that was my intention, I feel like mugwort does a really good job at helping with that. So it helps me, get more into my soul space, more into the higher chakras, but that's first setting that intention that that's what I truly want to do. And so I feel like it's a pretty good ally for that. Of course, I don't have to ingest the tea and I don't have to, smoke the the herbal joint, but you can definitely tap into its energy too. So those of you that don't live where mugwort grows naturally, that might be something you want to tap into. I think it's a wonderful aid in that. So that's kind of always been my intention, whether it's an herbal, smoke or it's been tea, is I want to get out of my head. I want to go inwards today. I want to go into my heart space. I want to be shown something that I can't see quite yet because my ego's in the way. So, I kind of tap into mugwort for that. Susie says, a friend told me it helped her with her channeling. This is no one here, John. She loves it. All right. Very nice. John says, I'm considering growing some as a connection to the land I'm on. It's local and getting harder to find in nature. That would be nice. Start bringing back some of the local floral. Elise said, wonderful, Lisa. Love your messages. The deck sounds stunning and we need to look into it. Susie's loving it. All right. Beautiful messages. Okay. So, as you saw in the title and in the poll, you guys wanted a Mother's Day channeling. So, I am going to do basically a little poll here um, to see what energy you would like me to channel about Mother's Day. But there's definitely already an energy that wants to, not a specific energy, but just more a message that would like to come through about Mother's Day. Like, I know that it's basically created, we should be celebrating our love for self and love for others every day, not just on specific days. But yeah, just any and all messages that come um, through your what you choose. So I'm going to take like a few suggestions, then we'll vote on those suggestions of what energy you want me to tap into for those messages. All right. And then we have Lily. All right, we're going to pull a card for Lily as well. Elise says, I'll have to chew on that. I think that's a perspective I've not truly thought of. All right. All right. Well, hello, hummingbird. um, so before we get into that channeling, let's go ahead and pull a card for Lily. Thank you. Thank you so much, by the way. And I believe you said you wanted the Herb Crafters Tarot. So bada boom. We'll utilize that. KDS says, all the moms that I work with have mothering guilt. Wondering what that is. And Lily said, my cat really wants a card for my energy baby. Okay. And KDS says, how can moms heal from the guilt and get the self off the hook? And that was something that came through that said that they wanted to talk about that, whatever form they want to take to speak. So yeah, so let's pull a card for Lily first, and then we'll take your suggestions on the energy you want me to channel, and then we'll vote from there.
I'll do that after.
So I don't forget. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. So we have Three of Earth with Raspberry. So let's tap into it. Okay, so Lily is just reminding you that um, you're still in charge of everything you're creating in your reality right now, and you always are. It's not like you never have been. And so I know that there are all these things that you're wanting to come in for you, but remember that you still have to go inwards. You still have to heal and say, if this is something that I want, what do I need to heal? What do I need to unblock to get it? And also, why is it that I want that thing? So don't forget that you still got to do those things. I know that there's synchronicity happening like crazy right now for a lot of people. A lot of things are moving rather quickly. Um, and it might be very easy for us to get into a space of like, whoa, everything's just happening. I'm just going to sit back and let it all happen to me. But there are still some things that we have that we want, things that we desire, and we still have to look into why we want those things and still understand that we have a hand in manifesting them, and we can't give up on that, and just decide, well, I did everything I needed to do. Let it all come in. So just a reminder for that. And I think that's a good reminder for all of us. So actually I think Lily, for her reading, helping me, helping everybody else, just remember that, yeah, there are times where we need to integrate and, all of that, but even that is something that's still an action. Even when we feel like we're not doing anything, we're still having the conscious decision to integrate. I'm allowing this information to integrate. So whether you're actively doing some healing, whether you're allowing it more to flow in, but just being conscious of all of it happening. All righty. Let's put that. Okay. You're very welcome. Shadowland said, I want to move somewhere I'd be able to surf nearly all the time and learn how. Very cool. Lily pulled the 10 of Cups to confirm. Excellent. Susie says, I was holding hostility towards my ex. Your messages helped me, but could you ask about why I'm still upset with him? Sure. Let's do for the rest of our super chats and super stickers. We'll do them after the channeling, just so, because now I feel like the energy is ready to go. So I'm gonna let her do her thing, or its thing, or I don't know. They don't really have a gender in energy, but and Tamika said, thank you for your channeling videos. Excited because I've never caught you on a live before because I'm in Australia and it's almost 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Oh my goodness. Well, welcome. All right. So let's do some suggestions. Let's get a few suggestions. What would you like to, what energy, entity, person do you want to hear from about Mother's Day or about the energy of mothers for this channeling? So put your suggestion. I'll just take, let's say, the top 3 suggestions, and then we'll vote on those 3. How about that? And in the meantime, I'll have some water. Ah, I see everybody's brainstorming now. Susie says, sounds good. Okay, so our first suggestion is Mother Earth, so Mama Gaia. Second suggestion is Mary Magdalene. All right, do we have a third suggestion? And then we'll vote. Those are 2 really good ones, by the way. Love working with those energies. Oh, John said the energy of creation. Okay, let's do it. So let's vote on those 3. Um, and Shadowlands, yes, definitely Shadowlands. We will get to your question after the channeling as well. So I'll remember Susie and Shadowlands. We'll get to you guys. Okay, so our suggestions are Mother Earth, Mary Magdalene, and the energy of creation. So if you would like Mother Earth, go ahead and put a green heart emoji. It's just easier for me to count. If you want Mary Magdalene, please put a red heart emoji. If you want the energy of creation, let's go with a white heart emoji. So green for Earth, red for Magdalene, white for creation. And then we'll count up those hearts and we'll have our winning vote. Lily says it's funny because Aphrodite just mentioned creation too. Elise said, I specifically feel the message take your time with your healing. All right. So far we have a red heart, green heart, white, red. All right. Keep those votes coming in. And again, people are just popping in. So the voting for the channeling, the energy that you want channeled, we have a green heart for Mama Gaia, basically, Mother Earth, a red heart for Mary Magdalene, and a white heart for the energy of creation. All right, and now I hear Jeopardy music in my head. So cool. do, do, do. Ooh, Shadowlands was also thinking about Mother Ocean. Oh, yes. So the choices again was Mother Earth, and you can vote for Mama Gaia with a green heart emoji, Mary Magdalene for a red heart emoji, and the energy of creation with a white heart emoji. All right, so I'll just give it a few more moments. Looks like some votes are still coming in. Excellent. And to my mighty moderators, if you don't mind helping me count in case I miscount. All right, Peg is talking about the thumbs ups. Oh, Peg's like 18 here and only 5 likes. I think she's tisking. All right, some more votes coming in. Excellent. Okay, so let's start doing count. So first I'm going to count up the green hearts, and that's for Mama Gaia. So let's do that. Okay, there's 1 green heart, 2 green hearts. Okay, 2 green hearts. All right, I'll go back. I'll count the reds. 1 red, 2 red. Looks like it's mostly going to be white hearts, but yeah, we'll count them here.
Can you explain what that is?
One.
Does he mean source?
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So the white hearts have made it so the energy of creation, basically source energy. So the creation of all. Peg says creation wins. It always does. Love it. All right. So we will do that then. And I have already set the intention that everything that we need to hear for our best and highest good through whatever entity wanted to speak would come through for us. So I know that we all have a lot of different questions. So my intention was that those questions would be answered without even having to vocalize them, that they're all something that we feel because we're all connected, as a consciousness. Susie says they're all great though. Yes. So let's go ahead and do that. I will just tap into source and anything and everything connected to our understanding of being a mother. What is a mother? What is the energy of mother? I know that there's so much programming, so much thinking around it. There's a 3D perspective, there's spiritual perspectives on mothers. Some people believe, that it has to be, that you have to have bear children to be a mother, or maybe that you need to care for animals, you need to care for the forest, whatever it may be. Let's get some answers on this, and definitely remember that whatever information comes through, utilize your own intuition. So although source may be offering some information to you, you still have to run it through your own filter and your own intuition and say, how does this resonate with me? What do I do with this information? Kind of like we were talking about earlier with the weekly reading. We have this situation happening, a channeling. Now what do I do with the information? If it doesn't resonate with me, then it doesn't resonate. But let's see. Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll leave you guys there. I'll take a little bit of water and then we'll go on in. Peg says, why are the children not listening to our or minding their mothers? What can one do? How do we lose respect for our loving mothers? Yes, all of these things. Like what do we need to know about all of that? These are great questions, by the way. Okay, let's do it. So give me just a moment, you guys. Okay, feel the direct connection to source, so I will just let it speak. Others. Title. Label. So many labels on your planet. Perhaps the logic may say this is so that we can understand one another, our job here, or our mission here. That I am this and I am that. But perhaps we'll focus on the label, although divisive, the label most on people's minds at this time, in this part of the world. But this message would be for all. The mother is the facilitator. Many have placed this list of actions that this label must perform, that she must be obeyed, that she must know what's best, that she must care for others in a way that the ego of the mother feels that they cannot care for themselves. The facilitator of a mothering energy has nothing to do with bearing children. It even has nothing to do with having to take care of something because it appears weak. But the energy of mother is the energy of inwards, just like the energy of father is the energy of outwards. But these are just names you have given to an energy. And with those names comes a list of tasks. This is why outside of this world, we do not use label For now, it denotes that you must only perform A, B, and C. So, the energy of mother, the inwards, is to facilitate how to move inwards, how to find your own inner strength, inner healing, inner love. And so perhaps at first, let's say, if you bear children on this plane of existence, at first, yes, there are needs that a baby requires of its mother, and the mother provides what the baby needs. But the mother should not look at the baby as if it is helpless. It is merely in a form that has not fully transitioned into the 3D. The mother in this aspect would be the facilitator to facilitate an easy transition into 3D while acknowledging the soul of the child, the soul being much older and wiser than its form would suggest. And helping that soul to express itself, to put into words what the baby cannot. From heart to heart, from one soul to another. Some may feel in these labels that the child should look to the mother as a form of master or one who knows best how the child should be. But you cannot speak for their purpose here on earth, no matter how well intentioned. You are merely able to help them to transition into this plane, while at the same time allowing the soul to grow and lead out its own mission. But let's move away from those who have given birth and look into the other aspects of how those view the word mother. They say mother should be caring, nurturing, loving. But all of these terms are subjective. Loving to one person means something else to another. So instead, I like to use the term facilitator, looking inwards. If you feel you care for animals, plants, and you say, I am the mother of these beings because I care for them, as if the only way to show love and caring is with the title of mother, can you not be just a soul connecting to other souls? The soul of a rabbit, let's say, or the soul of a tree. The facilitator, i.e., your term mother, is here to understand the energy of that tree. How can I help you in the 4D plane as well as the 3D plane? Let us learn from each other instead of looking down on the energy as if it cannot care for itself. For many of these energies are much older and wiser than you could ever fathom. The energy of the rabbit, perhaps living lifetime after lifetime on this planet, may know far more than you ever could. So why would you look down on it as a helpless thing? Instead, we tap into its energy as the facilitator. What is your purpose? Well, here is mine. How can we work together? That is the ultimate energy of love. That is the ultimate energy of caring. Do not confuse caring with coddling. To take away one's feet and have them rely fully dependent upon you. Perhaps this is not conscious, but some of us have difficulty in facilitating within ourselves. So we feel the need to facilitate with others. I don't know how to feel love myself. Therefore, if I help another, they will need me. Then I feel I can give. Then I feel love. For this is how I can show my love. But do you not see that this is a broken transaction? When you see inside the self that I am both mother and father, I am both inward expression and outward expression. That's what that truly means. That in my inward expression, I see my soul, I see my strength, I see my light, I see my love. And in my inward expression of this, therefore, looking outwardly in my fatherly expression, my masculine, I see the love, the strength, the light in all things. And I do not see them as floundering without my help, but merely they are a different soul on a different journey. And I'm merely here to aid with that in whatever capacity they may need, while also understanding my own mission and how we can work in symbiosis. So, although the planet may continue to use the term mother as a label filled with certain tasks that you must do this and you must do that, for those who can see and listen, we ask that you take away these musts. It should look like this. It must be like this. And realize that the musts and shoulds are the words of the ego. For everything is in its own reality. So if you say, children must do this with their mother, but that is only in your reality and in your ego's reality. Perhaps so much is coming up at this time because those labels are becoming blurred. And this is the sign of growth and of spiritual awakening, that we are no longer in our defined positions, but that we are becoming one and equal, the child equal to the parent equal to the world, to plants, animals, elements, and everything. This is a message of pure love. I am showing you the strength within yourself and within everything around you, so that you need not burn yourself out trying to give, 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 because this is what a mother must do. Remember the term must. You give because this is an agreement upon one soul and another that you are helping each other. If you are feeling burned out, so to speak, then the balance is unequal. And this is the ego leading the way. So, on this day, your Mother's Day, go inwards. This is a chance for the inner world, the facilitator. Ooh. Whew. All righty. I think all my bones was cracking there. All right. Whew. Okay, I need some water. We're gonna ground again. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, let's see what you guys had to say about that. I'll read while I like come back to earth. um let's see. Peg was also wondering the attack on the divine feminine. Lee was saying, what can mothers of indigo and crystal and rainbow children do to support their journeys? Um, KDS says, don't confuse caring with coddling. And Peg says, by the way, I just asked those questions because my grandson was asked to do his chores and he chose to sit in here and hide. He read the questions and left. So thank you. He's doing his chores now. KDS says, the musts and shoulds are words of the ego. John says, the number 3, creation, destruction, and the ability to see that you are the undulation of both. Tides, like the waves spoken of before. Yes. Lily said, that was good. Hey, Shani, how are you? All right. Well, definitely have to rewatch that. I'll try to take that channeling out of the live chat and make it its own video for everybody who missed that channeling, who just wanted to see that as part of the live chat. So I'll make sure that that is available sometime next week. But yeah, yeah, I guess sort of expecting some of those answers, but maybe sort of not. I like the what it was trying to say that like mother is just an inward expression, father is an outward expression, but those are just the terms that we give to energy. And so because we see that in a, let's say, quote unquote family unit with, you know, a mother giving birth to a child, and then, you know, there's a father, and of course he's part of that equation too. um, but then we take that physical representation and we apply it to an energy. But really it's just inward expression, outward expression. And I like the idea of facilitator, that you're just here to like help, um help an energy like basically get its feet here, or with anything, you know, whether you've given birth to a kid or not. um but yeah, it's just a it's an understanding, it's a going inwards with the tree, going inwards with the child, going inwards with the animals, um and other people, you know, around us, and seeing like who are they at their core, their soul level, and how can we help each other, instead of feeling ultimately responsible, like I'm responsible for this and for that. And then that, I think that's where we attribute our identity, is because if I'm responsible for this, then I am that person, or I am this. And I think maybe that's why sometimes with you know, moms, we may feel that if the let's say with the children, you know, let's say the child does something that makes me angry, it might be because I've attributed to my identity with that child, and it's something that I would like to see done, and because it's not being done through this other person, now I've become angry, something like that. So, it's very interesting, but also, realizing that yes, when babies come into the world, they may be helpless in some respect. Yes, they need, mother's milk and all of these things, all these 3D things, but at the same time, they're a soul and souls are eternal. And so it's tapping into that soul. How do I really help this child enact its mission here on earth instead of deciding that I must do this or I should do this? So I don't know. I definitely want to rewatch it. Interesting. Um, Peg says, now I have some chores to do. Thank you all so much. Have a blessed day. You too, Peg. Have a beautiful Mother's Day. Elise says, that was absolutely wonderful. Wow, I really want to go back and listen to the replay. It's been very active. I really like the challenge to see mothers in a different light. Shadowland says, while you were channeling, I got the mermaid sitting on a rock near a beach as a vision. It came with the sound of waves. KDS says, I'm so moved and inspired. I've never believed in labels, and I think I'm gaining courage to help others without using the westernized insurance reimbursement via diagnosis system. Shawnee says she's doing well. Thank you for such a powerful message. KDS says, I'm flashing back through my career, thinking of so many moms with their children of all age groups. I am floored. Shawnee says she'll watch the replay. All right. Well, thank you guys for voting on that. I think we can all try to learn from it, from all our different perspectives and whatever it is that our, personal missions are, see how you want to incorporate that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I do know that we had some super chats and super stickers that I want to get back to. I want to pull a card for Susie, and I want to pull a card for Shadowlands. So let's actually continue using the Herb Crafters Tarot. So I like this one. Well, I mean, I like all of them, but I'm just feeling like this one at the moment. So Susie, if you could remind me what your question was, be happy to pull you a card. And same goes for Shadowlands. So if you can remind me your question, please. Susie said, beautiful. All righty. Oh, looks like our little ant friends are out and about. Sun's a shining. It's nice out. Why wouldn't everybody be out? Ants, animals, and the like. Oops. So we'll give this a little shuffle, shuffle. Susie's like, so yes, myself and Shadowlands. Okay, so Susie's question was about anger I need to release about my ex, father of my child. All right, so let's tap into that. Okay, so before I pull a card for you, Susie, what I just saw when tapping in, it was an image of like taking a kid to the circus and the kid holding a little red balloon, and you hear all the circus music, and so we'll see how that plays into it. But just wanted to share, what I saw. Okay, so anger around this ex, how to release. And then we have the Six of Fire, which is like your Six of Wands, and it has nasturtium, which are beautiful flowers that sometimes I would see growing in people's front yards back in San Diego. Susie says, I'm not naturally an angry person. All right, so let's tap into this. Okay, so where the ego is holding on to this energy in the form of anger is the feeling that in situations there's always going to be winners and there's always going to be losers. And so if something happened, different situations with your ex that felt unfair, the only way the ego could categorize it into labels, kind of like what we got from our channeling, everything is in labels, is that this was unfair, and I feel like I'm on a quote unquote losing end of this battle, that somehow it's a battle. Every argument, there's got to be a winner and a loser. And even when you guys separated, that there somehow has to be a winner and a loser. And if you feel upset about it, the ego feels like, well, then that must mean, if I'm not happy about it, that must mean that I lost in that situation. I was a loser in that situation. Um, when really we're looking at it as just, um, what could we learn from those different situations where I felt like I lost? So if you felt like you lost in a particular argument or throughout the whole thing, then why is that? And that way we see our 50% of our energy and the other person's 50% of their energy coming together. Why do I feel like there has to be a winner and a loser? Why do I feel like if somebody gets the last say, let's say, in an argument, that makes them the winner because I didn't get the last word in? Why is that? And we go back a little bit further, and we might find that what the X was really trying to represent was something that was unhealed. So we brought in that person at that time because that was our vibration at that time. Um, and he was poking at certain shadows. They didn't feel good, obviously. When our shadows are poked or when we're triggered, it obviously never feels good. Um, but he poked at them time and time again to say, hey, this is something that truly needs to be looked at for some deep-seated healing. I mean, did your ex consciously know that? Of course not. This is all from soul to soul. So now that you are away from that situation, and that is something of the past, now we can take this time to reflect. At what point in my relationship did I feel like I lost? Did I feel like I was being dominated? Um, and where else did that come from in my life before my ex-husband even came into my realm of reality? Where did I feel like that? And it probably would stem from childhood, where I felt like, either I won or I lost. And in feeling that, when we feel like we lost something, or we lost a race, or we lost an argument, when it all boils down to it, it's feeling powerless. When I feel like I lose, I feel powerless. Aha. So then that's the root that we get to. Where in my life, when I was very young, did I feel powerless? And sometimes it could just be, as little kids, we feel like we're not old enough to make a difference. We're not old enough to speak up. We're not old enough to make any sort of difference. And so we feel powerless. And sometimes that's taken over into our adulthood, this feeling of, what I say doesn't matter, what I do doesn't matter. And so we end up attracting people who help us to see that about ourselves. And sometimes it takes a while. I'm not saying that it's great, and obviously I'm not saying that, to whatever happened between you and your ex, that it was like, oh yay, like I want people to trigger people in this way. But we can learn something from it. And in that, we can release that energy. We could say, I see why you were here. So you did have a purpose for being in my life. And it had, yes, there was some issues with you, but really it was something stemming from a long time ago that I didn't even know was there. So in that, when we show gratitude and say, hey, thanks, I mean, energetically, you don't have to say it in person. Say, hey, thanks for showing me this. Now I can release it. And I show myself love and gratitude. I'm sorry, self, that I carried this for so long. I just didn't see it before, but all that matters is this present moment. And in this present moment, I can see it now. And I thank him. I love him. I love myself. I thank myself. I show him gratitude. I show myself gratitude. I don't need to learn this lesson anymore. And then that's how we release it. It's probably not going to be a one and done thing, but something that you might have to work on for a while. But at least you know what the root cause could be. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Let's go back here. Um, Katie says, Susie, we feel your sweet energy. Elise says, I should go too. Bye all. Before I do, I did have a collective message. See yourself for who you truly are. Recognize yourself as a mother, but see yourself beyond that. That is beautiful. Elise, you have a beautiful rest of your day. Shadowlands. Okay, Shadowlands, I got your question, so we'll get to you next. Shani sending love. Susie says, okay, I get it. We were a match back then, and now I see what you are saying. Yes, you're amazing. Thank you, my friend. You are very welcome. She says, I will do that. Gratitude tonight in my daily prayer. Love you, Chica. Right back at ya. Mwah. Katie says, I'm bawling crying. This exact transaction happened this week with my sister. And Ashani says, somehow I am feeling that this message is also for me, as I have some childhood traumas deep down that affect me as an adult, especially the way I deal with my parents. Thank you. And Susie says, it was 100% spot on. Great sage wisdom. Very welcome. All right, so we'll get to Shadowlands. Oh, and our buddy John. Thank you. All right, so Shadowlands, hold on, let me just get back to your question. Okay, so the question was, what else do I need to work on during my journey currently? All right, Shadowlands, let's take a look ski. By the way, can't wait to see what your tassiography messages on Instagram. See what message you got in your cup of tea. You are my cup of tea. All right, Shadowlands, let's see. Ooh, we have the Seven of Earth. Oak. Okay. Alrighty. I get you. Okay, so what your higher self was saying about your journey right now at the moment um, is more about integration than it is quick action. Um, there is a tendency as human beings, we're all human, we've been incarnated as humans. We do human things, and one of our very human things is to consciously, sometimes subconsciously, compare ourselves to others. And sometimes that even translates over into spirituality. We may feel that, other people seem to be so far along on their spiritual journey, or they can do this and I can't do this. And so sometimes there's this, I want to be able to do this now. I want to do this now. I want to manifest this now. But everything is in our own right timing, because just like we heard in the channel about us being our own individual soul, even though we are a collective, yes, we are one, but even from that one, we are still branched off into these individualities with our individual missions, and those individual missions are what make up the whole. But if we are to say that I should be like this person, then you're trying to say that this person and I have the exact same mission, we are the exact same person, we are the exact same, this or that. When really, if you look at the grand scheme of things, why would that be? Why wouldn't we, if there's billions of people on this planet, why wouldn't we have billions of different missions? It's something that's, we can actually ask the ego that, why would we need two people with the exact same mission, with the exact same life and the exact same life experiences? We wouldn't really. We need different perspectives, which is why we all live in different parts of the world. We have different upbringings, we speak different languages. We view things differently so that we can get that varied perspective within the collective. So, this moment in your life is more about integration of the things that you've already worked on, and a reflection of those things, because sometimes we may work on something and we say, well, I'm done. I worked on that. What's next on the docket, because it's a very human thing to do. But there are times where we need to go back and revisit some things that we think we already healed, that, we've already dealt with, because as we progress along, we start looking at those past healings, those past things that we dealt with from an even different perspective. And in that different perspective, we find another layer. So it's not so much the amount of things that you do in this world, or the amount of things on your missions list, but more the different perspectives that we could look at all of those things on our missions list. So let's say, I have to heal a father wound. Well, the healing of that father wound will look different when I'm 12. It'll look different when I'm 21. It'll look different when I'm 97. And every time I look on it, there's going to be a different aspect that I could address. And that's all part of your journey at the moment, is this reflection and integration. And it may seem slow, but that's just our ego mind wanting to race, 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 go, go, go. That's the divine masculine put to the extreme. So remember, let's say today, on what many people in America consider Mother's Day, let's utilize what the channeling said and use this day for a more inward reflection, that this is the inward journey. And sure, there will be times where we utilize the father aspect, where then we look at the outward journey. But for you at this time, this is about looking inwards and knowing that you can take your time. And it doesn't matter how much you get done in this lifetime, but the quality, the perspectives, the reflection that you gave that life here on this planet. So it's not a race. You're doing okay. And I know that you're all ocean vibes over there, which I love. I love all your sea vibes. And that's what it is. It's going with the flow, right? So just like the ocean, sometimes she wants to have 8-foot waves. Sometimes she wants to be glassy out there, not a ripple out at sea. And right now for you, it's time to just kind of ride those tiny little ripples. So I hope that makes sense. Alrighty, let me go back here. All right, so our buddy John, Okadius Worker says, yep, exactly what I believe in booster healing. All right, so John, do you have a particular question? Um, Maybe an area to look into, or maybe just a general message from your higher self. Okay, hello, ants. You cannot have my water bottle. This is unacceptable. This is my wawa. You have a whole stream. Probably leave it on my table here. Okay. KDS says ages and stages offer different perspectives, and stressful life events can cause a reset. Shadowland says sounds like it's a slow down and floating along. Yep. Right now, just enjoy the cruise on the waves. Now's the time to just kind of sit on the board, at the lineup. You know, the next set hasn't come in yet, and we're just looking off into the horizon, so to speak. For all my surfers out there, yeah, your just feet are just dangling in the water, and you're just enjoying the scenery as it is. No action needed at this time other than the action of inward integration. All right, John said, for my 5D higher self, I know as Peck. All right, my first guide to reach out to me. All right, and the KDS says, float in the river of the Tao. All right, so let's tap into your 5D higher self. Let's tap into Peck. Okay, so just like with Susie, I always, just say what I see. So before I pull a card, first thing I saw was like this ginormous dragon flying through the sky, just like breathing fire on everything. Not like maiming or hurting anything, but more like clearing a path. It looked like we're resetting, we're clearing a path, we're cleansing this land, like fire everywhere. So I don't know how that translates to you, but we'll pull a card here. Man, my ear is ringing again. It's been ringing for like 3 days. Ah, we have the Empress Rose. Let's tap in. Okay. Okay. So Peck was saying it's time, obviously, go inwards. This is an inwards day, as it should always be, I suppose. Um, but it was a looking at what love means to you. What does self love mean? What does it mean to love others unconditionally? That this is just like we were talking about with Shadowlands, to go back and reflect on. This might be something that you've already worked on. You're like, oh, well, I already worked on self love. I already worked on, seeing others as love and trying to help others that way. But this is a time to go back and look at it again, um, and trying to get an even higher perspective on it. So, the higher perspective that Peck has to offer is that sometimes when we think of self love, it's, well, I suppose it's a listening to my body and I just need to relax today, or I need to take a nap today, or I'm going to make myself a nice cup of tea or something like I'm going to do these physical things for myself because that's how I understand self love. Um, and then when we talk about love for others, well, sometimes I show my love for others just by listening to them. Or sometimes I show my love for others by making something for them or buying them something. Um, but Peck wants you to take it a step further. Let's, yeah, like you're saying, going back to the basics. Let's go back to the basics of love. Let's take that a step further. Sometimes, if we're going to look at this from a higher perspective, self love is truly, unequivocally listening to the higher self. It's listening to the intuition. It's listening to your gut. The stage just below that is listening to the body. So the higher perspective is like every time you tap into your intuition and you follow that intuition, every time you tap into the higher self and you follow that higher self, that's the form of self love that Peck is talking about. Let's say love for your wife and love for the people around you. Um, it's a tapping into their energy. I think we talked about before, you're very empathic, you're very good at feeling into people. So every time you tap into them and then you take action on it, that's another form of self love. Sometimes the action you need to take is a way to help bring up traumas or triggers in that person so that they can heal. Sometimes it is being seen as the bad guy, sometimes you're seen as the good guy, but it doesn't matter what their perspective of you is. It's the fact that you're following what your higher self wants you to do, what your heart is leading you to do, your actual soul mission. That's true love. That's love for others. And it's also love for self because you're doing what you know your heart wants you to do. So I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but it's just the next level of looking back on the very basic self love and love for others. Um, let's see. John said, "Oh, your ears are always ringing." Okay, always back to basics. This is spastic colon. I have no choice but to listen to my guts. Yeah, but that's the physical body speaking, and that's one form of self-love and tapping in is listening to the body. The body wants rest right now. The body has a form of dis-ease coming up because it's trying to show me something. That's one form, but the other one is to truly just tap into the soul itself. What do I do right now? What messages do I have right now? What should I be doing in my mission right now? And how can I show others love by listening to this intuition and following what it wants me to do for other people instead of what I think they need. KDS Worker said, love that, but not the spastic colon. Well, yeah, you know. Um, actually, if because I got a message on that. If we think about the physical body, even though Peck was wanting us to look a little bit higher than that, um, well, what is our colon good for? Expelling waste, right? And so if it's having a knit fit, about expelling that waste, then there's something that we are having trouble letting go of, hence the spastic, colon. It's having trouble of letting go of a certain waste, something that doesn't serve us anymore. And so you might be at this kind of crossroads of, do I continue doing things this way or do I start to do things a little bit differently? But that's the listening to the intuition, that's the going inwards. So, all righty. John says it's an obvious sign I'm not aligned energetically, etc. Yeah, but I mean, and then once you do go inwards and you thank that part of your body for showing you that yes, it might be sometimes a little private, but hey, thanks for showing me what I needed to know. John said thank you, and thanks to Peck, I am at a crossroads. Yep. All right, so many wonderful questions today, and I thank you guys for allowing me to read for you. I thank you guys for allowing me to channel for you. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me at the surfboard table. um, by the way, check out that view. Beautiful. um, yeah, so while we're out here in this beautiful location, let's go ahead and get to our channeled guided meditation. I'll turn the camera around so you guys have a better view than my mug. And then, yeah, we will continue on our merry way. So I'm going to move my chair over here. You're very welcome, Susie. Thank you, everybody. And like I said, next Sunday, I'm going to be doing something special for the 10,000 subscribers. So we'll be doing a giveaway, but I will also be making a special video for all to watch as a thank you. Ooh, speaking of awesome things, ooh, matches the sunglasses. Seeing through the higher chakras, that crown chakra magic out here, bring up the vibes of this table. Um, Actually, I want to use this for meditation now that I'm holding on to it. I'm like, wait a minute. um, but yeah, and I would like to do something a little special for my patrons and for my YouTube members as well. So stay tuned. I got something for you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. KDS says thank you to all. Can't wait for Father's Day. Susie's saying thank you, Lily. Lily's like, does it involve cats? We'll see. And KDS is wondering if this is amethyst. This is. And where does this amethyst come from?
Uruguay.
Uruguay. They got that deep purple amethyst. Shadowland says, I'm getting a male voice that keeps calling me Milani. Interesting. All right, so I'm going to utilize this. Actually, let's tap into it for the channel guided meditation. So you guys go ahead and get nice and cozy. I'm going to turn this around. Get the bobber bobble out the way. Bring that. There we go. All right. All right. So go ahead and get yourself into a nice, comfortable space. Make sure that you are in a place where you will be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be lying down, sitting in a chair, perhaps seated on the floor, or under a tree. And as you start to settle yourself, I want you to bring your focus to your breath. Perhaps take your hand, place it over your chest so you can feel that rise and fall, much like the subtle movements of the ocean, ebbing and flowing. With every exhale, just like the ocean bringing to shore what no longer serves her. And every inhale, bringing far out to the vast reaches of our ocean, everything she wants to bring in. Ebb, flow. And as you continue breathing, I want you to imagine that you are standing in the sand on the shore of a vast and beautiful ocean, listening to the sound of the waves, the sandpipers as they run by, the call of the seagull, and the massive wings of the pelican as it flaps its wings overhead. And as we feel the wind in our hair, we look to the ocean, a representation of ourselves. And on this day, the day of the energy of Mother, we ask it to show us in what area of our life must I go inwards at this time. Where have I not seen the inward perspective? If something troubles me at this time, I know that just like the ocean, I have the ability to leave it on shore or bring it down into the depths of my being. Allow Mother Ocean to speak to you. In what way have I neglected my own journey? In what way have I decided not to look into the heart of the journey of another? In what way have I kept myself divided? In what way have I created an unbalanced relationship energetically, giving too much, or perhaps taking too much? How could I bring the mother and father within myself into harmony? And where in my life is my inward reality reflected in my outward reality? The balance of mother and father. And knowing that it is the balance of the two that I create this reality. When you feel called, begin walking out into the ocean, first feeling the foam at your feet, and then slowly feeling the water embrace you, embracing your entire being until you are fully submerged, fully held in your own energetic womb. And again, when you feel ready, rise up from the ocean with new perspective, new understanding of yourself, and begin making your way back to the shore, thanking the ocean, the mother that is you, and the Father for showing you where you need healing and balance and understanding for your best and highest good. And begin making your way back into your body, wiggling your fingers and toes, perhaps having a little stretch. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. All right, you guys. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for joining me here at the Surf and Turf table. Thank you for joining us with this channeling, and for those who allowed me to pull cards for them today, thank you. And thank you again for everybody who subscribed to this channel, everybody who supported it, either as a subscriber, as a patron, as a YouTube member, who's left comments on videos, shared the videos, left thumbs up, suggestions for channelings, all of it. James and I thank you so much. I love having you guys on this journey with us, and I have a lot of fun on Sundays, and I owe that to you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Every saying thanks. Susie's saying it was a wonderful chat today. Yes, until next time, peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. All right, bye, guys.